Thank you so much for tuning in to Sister Soul Main Radio and bringing in the entire new year. We're going to get into a song with this pre recorded broadcast. And this song is brought to you by Chicken called Fear.
Uncle Paul take a nigga for his last ride. See y'all. For sure that.
Tachiko.
This is the party scary. I try to talk, but these niggas ain't here. This nigga spooky. They play that role in the movie.
Yeah. I put the feet God these niggas. I swear to God. I put the feet God these niggas. I swear to God. I put the feet God in these niggas. I swear to God. I put the feet God in these niggas. I never go back on my promise. Yeah. One thing I don't like, to be honest. They gon' keep popping until I pop up. Look at them acting astonished. Claiming they trapped out of Hondas. They must was living in Disneyland. I was uptown with bottles. Stuck with a pulse on the minute grams. It lasts for a minute, man. Pull on them niggas, I'm double shifts. Call them plug me up, I'm finished, man. Twice in the day, that's a double flip. Effing and twins, call them double mints. Shoot through your flesh like it's double mint. How much I ask them all about? Nobody know where the fuck you went. Refuse to be taken. I'm a different beast. Trying to run straight in the Dickies fleece. I wanna roll with the money yet, and I need a bean for a 50 piece. Completed the puzzle, no missing piece. I'm on a mission like God sent me. I'm on a level that can't be reached. Nigga, I speak like God in
The
me.
party is scary. I try to talk, but these niggas ain't here. This is the party spooky. They play that role in the movie.
Yeah, I swear to God. I put the fear of God in these niggas. I swear to God. I put the fear of God in these niggas. I swear to God. I put the fear of God in these niggas. I swear to God. I put the fear of God in these niggas. Sir, when that white, yeah, I done got used as like, I done grew heartless, stuck in darkness. I know my future is. I'm at this stove, I need deep. In your body on repeat. Rifles aside, the track trying to run it. Not to be trusted. Searching for info, but reveal it. Ripping that do I clutch. True all day and I won't conceal it. Nigga trying to stay relevant. The game is inside intelligence. Hustle, I do it in fashion. Trip the designers out there. I know they gon' hate some. I'm a bull in they box and demon. You top flame, bitch, gon' swallow like it's God's. Completed the puzzle, no missing piece. I'm on a mission like God sent me. I'm on a level that can't be reached. I speak like God in me.
The party is scary. I try to talk, but they ain't here. This is the party spooky. They play that role in the movie.
Yeah, I swear to God.
What's up? What's up? We about to get into this information. It's sponsored by Classic Boutique. Make sure you go to classicboutique.com and check out their products. Like organic skin care and hair care line. There will be a giveaway for a product launch, so make sure you stay tuned for that. This is about to get informative. I have a few inquiries today. The inquiries today are going to be based off of some information that we will be going over when it comes to the Falun story and the Tirthankara and Jain cosmology. Going into the information that may have something to do with a bit of our history, perceived in ancient times, and some things that were considered Buddhism and Jainism, so on and so forth. So, when speaking on these things, we will get into the discussion. When it comes to the Chinese Communist Party campaign against the Falun Gong in 1999, the world was understandably caught off guard. First off, why were they so concerned about a particular meditation and exercising ritual that actually brings on a strong, sound mind? Nobody ever knew what Falun Gong if it was. Now, nor did they ever realize there were over 100 million people doing Falun Gong in China at the time. So what's the real story here? What is Falun Gong really all about? What actually is happening in China and what is the impact? It has very strong roots to ancient times, which is when we're going to get into the Tirthankara, there will be some information that actually links to the Falun Gong. So I'm going to give you a little bit of information on this, and then we will get right into it. Origin of the Falun Gong, history of the Kong and its relationship to Buddhism, Taoism. What is Tao? The way or the Fa. We've talked about the Fa, the Sa, the La, the different sounds and frequency and vibration. Everything having to do with frequency and vibration, and that would be included in when it comes to certain ancient ideologies, and we'll get into that. Destruction of traditional by the Chinese Communist Party, the Communist Party, something that we are fighting against now. Introduction of the Falun Gong and the cultural renewal in China. We'll get into that. The rise of the Falun Gong. When we're thinking about the Falun Gong in its history, that would transpire to anything that we would think, why would this have anything to do with us? We'll get into that, right? We may or may not go over all of this information because I definitely want to get to another section that is related to this, which I feel is very much important to, you really getting the idea of what I'm talking about when it comes to the frequency, the vibration of sound, and the universe, and the things that actually pertain to us as a particular being, right? So there's the evil persecution. Following draws from the state-run the state-run media started to attack Falun Gong. This was in April the 25th of 1999. The gathering in Zhang and angered them pursues the crackdown. It was like a terrorization that was released on anyone that was protecting themselves by the meditation practices, the exercising rituals, so on and so forth. There was a violent suppression of over 100 million people. Not a million guys. You look at it right. We're talking about 100 million people. Oh, here this bitch go. You about to get blocked. We ain't not even finna play with none of them people. Okay. Halito says. Halito. So to the violent suppression of over 100 million people, you would think, why would it be so important for them to suppress the meditative frequency and the vibration of harmonization in the country? Something that would keep people at peace, something that kept them in a state of mental stability, something that kept them actually fit in the mind, body, and soul due to his particular exercising techniques as well. The brainwashing and the torture and the sexual assault and organ harvesting. We will be doing a part 2 on the organs harvesting, and you will see how this played into effect of that. The system propaganda was fueled violence of everything that was going on. There was violence against their protests, against their march, against their meditations that they were setting their stands for, so on and so forth. There was a lot of social and economic impact of that. There was a lot of peace resistance. When we're thinking of resistance of something, when a person comes into wholeness, brother, wholeness to you, great light. You already know. When that there were peace protests on the Tiananmen Square. They were tapping into a state television broadcast. It was underground, home produced, media flourished all around, trying to see why was there such persecution of over 100 million people. They tried to say it was fake news, this, and that. It definitely was not. They wanted to cover it up. The mass harvesting of organs and death among people that were practicing a meditative ritual. Let's say that. By the numbers. They protested. They did all type of things. So I'm going to pull up an article for you guys real quick. And we're going to get a little bit more into the Falun Gong in itself. I want to show you actually what was going on. Okay, my computer's a little slow, guys. Bear with me. And let's see. Let me get to this other article here. I think I want to give a little more description that before we get into the Tirthankara. That is going to be the very important detail I want you guys to focus on. So give me just a moment to get that pulled up. I got too many screens pulled up and I don't know where I'm at right now. So give me a moment. Let me just stop to find where. Okay, definitely. Look at these bots. They just keep coming. I don't know what the hell. I'm gonna have to. I watch the chat and this and all this at the same time because of these weirdos. What are you doing? Let's see. One moment here, guys. All right, we're gonna get into actually what particular. And here we go. I got you guys now. Give me a moment. So, if you can see the screen clear now, give me just a moment. Why they were banning it. Now we kind of figure out why there was a 100 million persecuted for this particular thing, right? Being that it was practiced in the why is that interesting? We will definitely get into that when it comes to the right. The Falun Gong combines meditation and familiar with Tai Chi. It is a very ancient practice, helps with the frequencies in the body, the flow of energy, balance, so on and so forth. With the moral philosophy centered tolerance. In Chinese Zen, Shan, and Falun Gong practitioners inspired to live by these principles in their daily. So now it gets interesting, right? Be something these people are against. The Chinese against moral be centered on truthfulness and compassion and tolerance, right? The Zen, you hear about the Zen all the time, right? These are practices that aspire a person in their spiritual life, helping to a person to extend themselves and ascend to higher states of spiritual enlightenment, right? So Falun Gong was actually a practice that actually enhanced that. It was a spiritual enlightenment process that helped in the mind, body, and soul. So now we see why persecuted in 1999. In traditional Chinese culture, the process of perfecting and refining the mind and body is called cultivation. Now, when we think about that word cultivation, right, we're thinking about when they are cultivating, even over here in the United States, anything that is the process of perfecting and refining the mind and the body, the changing, the misguided institute that is put on us when it comes to the transformation of our cells via chemicals, food, the air, the water, these different things. So that is the cultivation of one's body, which also affects the cultivation of the mind and the spirit. Once the mind is affected, the spirit is therefore transpired into other things because now you're not able to tap into yourself, your true self. You're in that little hot spot that you can't quite get out of. Our modern language uses the word Qigong to describe the cultivation process. What differentiates the from other forms of Qigong is it emphasizes on one's morality in the cultivation. Is this interesting to you guys? You know, are you guys making sense of this? Let me get ready to. I see we getting these bots. I need you moderators to get to block these Russian bots. I don't know, Caroline, Stephen. I didn't mean to block you, sweetheart. So maybe somebody can unblock Caroline, but that was really absurd. Like these people are coming out of nowhere. I didn't mean to block you, Caroline, Stephen. So I'll go back in and do it later, sweetie, if one of the moderators don't handle that. All right. Now, get back to it. Now, this differentiates the Falun Gong from different Kong because it emphasizes one's morality and the cultivation of the virtue. So that means the spirit, the soul of a person being on a higher state of being when it comes to their morals and their state of being when it comes to their stature of their elevation and their ascending or ascension to be able to tap into other worlds, other dimensions, and reaching those levels, going to a higher state and exceeding that, right? We're going to get more into that when it comes to the Tirthankara, right? The ancients believed that through this disciplined spiritual practice, a human being is capable of transcending ordinary existence. Interesting. We talk about this a lot. When we think about transcending your ordinary existence, that means leaving the state of the physical and going into the spiritual mind state. We talk about this a lot when it comes to the elevating of the mind, body, and soul. There has to be a true balance in the connection of these three coming into sync, the Holy Trinity, actually filling the whole, making it complete. There's no gap in the whole, filling the whole. That particular existence is transcending, right? They sought a higher being free of suffering and of illusions of the mundane world. So Falun Gong taught him a way of seeking a higher state of being, elevating from the mind state of the physical world, from the mind state of this particular matrix, right? Do you get that? They sought a higher state of being, free of suffering and illusions of the mundane world. So anything they sought or they were focused on would be of the spiritual nature. Are you guys following me? Bro, God dang, I can't get it together today. Let's see. Is this any better, guys? If you guys can hear me better. No. Good evening, Yulita. Greatness. Is this any better, guys? Of course it's gonna be a chat because I'm about to get into some deep info. So I'm gonna make sure that you guys can hear me. If it's okay, somebody put in one chat, let me know so I can keep going. All right. Attaining such state requires moral rectitude, letting go of earthly desires, and the use of meditation practices to improve mind and body. This verifies that meditation practices that I speak to you guys about all the time improve the mind and body. Numerous disciplines arose, offering paths for spiritual growth. Many were quietly passed down over the ages from masters to disciples. Falun Gong arises out of this lineage and is adopted for a modern lifestyle. The practice was introduced to the public in May of 1992 by Mr. Li Hongzhi, something that I'm pretty sure he studied and brought from the Jain cosmology information, also relating to the Tirthankara, which is why we're going to get into that. The health benefits reported by people taking up Falun Gong are often immediate. The health benefits are often immediate. Why, per se, would they want to ban a particular practice if it has so many benefits? We did see that it says that what it would do is choppy. Damn it, man. Let me see if I can do something different here, guys. I might have to try and get on the phone because I need you guys. I want you guys to see this. So maybe if I give me a moment, guys. Let me do something here to try and get us going. And you can hear me a little better because this is ridiculous. This information definitely needs to be understood. Having an understanding to, yeah. Give me a moment, guys. I'll be right. I'm hoping this is much better, guys. All right, is this better? No, there's an echo. Oh, Lord, this will not work. All right, let's see. All right, is this better, guys? All right, is this better? No, there's an echo. Lord, this will not work. 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 This This is like really crazy. All right, guys. I wanted you guys to see that information. It's pretty boring when you're just listening to a person. When you can see it for yourself, it's a little better. But I'm not exactly sure what's going on. I'm going to try and go back in the studio, guys. So give me just a moment. We'll try this one more time. All right, guys, let's try this one more time. I'm not sure if this is any better. I don't know if when I share the screen, it's bringing the issue. You know, they are about, you see, we had like 3 Russian bots in there. Here's the 4th one now. We got to get these people out of here. They are actually messing with the system here. So I don't know if I can see them. I should have a moderator tune there, guys. Can you block these Russian bots because they are actually doing something to the system? Because I don't even have my programming up for today. This is a pre-recording, so let's try and make sure we keep these people out of here because they, you know, they are on me because they do not want this information to be out. Caroline Stevens, Viratech. Okay, we know. Yeah, we got to block you because that is a coding as well. This is like absurd. I swear. Let me handle this first, y'all, before I do anything else. Hold on. This is like some crazy shit right now. It's crazy. That's crazy. They trying to stop the flow. Y'all can't stop this flow. It's still gonna come through. Believe that. Trust me. Block y'all ass out. All right. This better. Grandma said it's better. Thanks, baby. This is about to drive me crazy. Tired of seeing these idiots in the chat trying to get this information in my mind right. Let me take a drink. My throat's a little dry. My sinuses bothering me. It's just like absurd right now. Lemon water. I need some. I should have heated it up, but this is not even helping. Okay. The health benefits. Now let's get back to this, guys. The health benefits of taking up the Falun Gong are often immediate. So if you're having some type of disconnection, we've talked about plenty of times, guys. I tell you guys all the time, if you are having a disconnection or a breakage in a particular area within your body, this is what causes illness. This is what causes joints to be inflamed. This is what causes organs to be attacked, so on and so forth. The electrical energy is not going to that particular area in order to work it or do what it needs to do. So what happens is when a person takes up this meditative practice with Falun Gong and many other things we're going to get into, these things actually help you to elevate into a state of being when it comes to the mind, body, and soul, cleansing, purifying, sending immediate frequency and flow through the body to clarify some of these things, cleansing the body and putting it in a proper perspective. So keep that in mind. Let's continue. And many times dramatic. So they have not only immediate health benefits, but they are dramatic health benefits. If you guys are having some things that you're experiencing, I'll tell you about these meditative practices. This is something you can look up and you can study. We will definitely get into showing you a few of the practices when it comes to the Falun Gong. With some patients, even recovering from very severe illnesses is immediate. In addition, the Chinese people recognize in Falun Gong an authentic representation of the spiritual traditions which have almost been lost after decades of communist rule. This sparked a wave of excitement about the practice in China during the 1990s, and the practice grew rapidly across the country. It grew rapidly because it was so immediate. People were responding like, oh my gosh, this is going on. It's healing people. It's working. It's doing this. They were excited about this, right? However, upon gaining deeper understanding of the practice, it became apparent to practitioners. Listen to this. It became apparent to the practitioners that Falun Gong was not just another Yin Gong practice to improve health and wellness. Instead, the practice represented a rediscovery of the old good things of ancient China. Listen to this, guys. This is very important to what we're going to also be following up with. I'm going to repeat that, right? Falun Gong was not just another Qigong practice to improve health and wellness. Qigong is a practice that improved health and wellness. It is a few different practices, guys. We have one very, very ancient one that goes back further that we're going to get into, but there are quite a few different ancient practices that have come down from ancient ancestors that some particular areas have practiced. And we have lost touch with these things because we have been disconnected intentionally, but we won't get into that. As one grandfather and former Chinese official put in, the virtues of Falun Gong teachings rekindled the values of Chinese traditional past, the strength and honesty of Taoism, and compassion. The honesty of Taoism has a lot to do with universal language when it comes to spiritual. We're going to get into that. The compassion and goodness from Buddhism, and the wisdom to deal with people in social settings with righteousness and tolerance from Confucianism. You guys have also heard when they're talking about little changes, I think they'll say like ancient Chinese secret, Confucius. This is Confucianism. This is a particular practice when it comes to certain spiritual practices, meditative thinking, Buddhism, Taoism. These things are different practices that help to improve the state of mind, the state of being, and actual spiritual awareness when it comes to ascension process. And following on, people experience a renaissance of traditional Chinese wisdom and values, and this resonated deeply with the people all across the country of China. In 6 years, there were over 100 million people following this ancient practice when they became aware of it. And when they did that, it made a large change in the area. Crime went down. There were so many other things that were improving. Health benefits. The only thing that did not benefit was the health industry. They started losing money because people didn't need to go to the doctors. They didn't need anyone to do anything for them. Falun Gong teachings and the beliefs. Now, let's talk about the then. Then is when a person is being true, being very honest. Truth, real, and truthfulness is part of then. When it comes to Shan, that is being a kind person, being benevolent, having compassion for others, making sure to be loving and kind to them, being good, having goodness in your heart. Ren is a self-discipline. It's a self-restraint, patience. I'm working on Ren. I have issues with that. That is something that I battle sometimes with my spirit, and I practice on it. It's not anything that I haven't taken note of, and I practice it on a daily. I sometimes exceed myself in my self-discipline when it comes to other things affecting me, but I have to work on that. I can't put that on other people. I can't, say that what someone else is doing to me to cause me to react. I can't say what someone else is choosing to do to make me feel a certain way by the bounds of what they're doing. That's up to me to contain that self-discipline. It's up to me to have self-restraint and the patience to know how to spiritually discern at that moment, not be weak, and stand strong and say, wait a minute, I can overcome this. This is just a battle against me. This person doesn't even know what they're doing. They're not in their right mind, because if they were, they wouldn't be coming at me like that. I know that anyway. But a lot of times we have to take the patience because the person is being used by certain things in this atmosphere because we are part of air, water, and fire. Hey, being a part of these elements, we are easily manipulated by the things I talk about all the time, the waveforms, so on and so forth. We're going to get into that also when it comes to the Tirthankara. I want you guys to hear that word a lot so you can actually look into it. When it comes to Ren, it also is enduring hardship. When it comes to enduring these hardships, you're able to deal with things. You're not able to fall off balance because something's happened to you. Something has hurt you or harmed you, and it's like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. Hell no, it ain't the end of the world. You pick it up, you keep it moving. That is enduring hardship. That is having the heart to know that life will go on and things will get better from this point on. It also is in being forgiven, something I practice all the time. I'm forgiving so much, but people aren't always forgiving because it's something hard for them to do. When they have a lot of resistance and resilience in their own lives, things that they're not happy about, things that they have problems with, they're not able to forgive. They like to hold on to those boundaries because they have nothing else to stand on. When they find something to stand on, it's hard to let that thing go when they have nothing else to stand on. So they will hold on to those things. It's harder for a person to forgive and let loose than it is for them to hold on and have something they feel they need to stand on, right? When it comes to the tolerance, we have to be tolerant of people, knowing that their behavior sometimes is not their own. They're affected by things that come into our life that actually affect us in the wrong ways, and we're not able to actually know what to do. So we have to find ways to actually edify ourselves and get ourselves a proper perspective and knowing how to handle these things, being more tolerant with others, having a little more patience, having a little more resistance in your anger, and being able to control that when it comes to things that upset you. I'm talking to myself too. I'm looking at the man in the mirror. Okay. We know that song. It had a lot of meaning, right? We won't get into that right now. I was about to go somewhere else. Okay. At the core of the Falun Gong, and you guys have to excuse, I know I sound really stuffy. My ears are stuffed up. My nose is stuffed up. We've been having like the best of weather, but for some reason I'm still having these sinus issues. I'm pretty sure it's from chemicals in the air. Due to reconstruction in my nose, sometimes I get sinus issues. The ear, nose, and throat are connected, so it causes drainage sometimes into my esophagus. So, my voice gets a little cracky and my ears a little stopped up. There's so much going on. I had time to do, I did have time, I'm lying. I had time to take care of that today, but I didn't take the time to treat myself today. So I had to make sure that I'm doing that, making sure I do everything to keep myself on the right page. I just was laying around today. I actually need to do a detox after treating myself to a couple of things yesterday, but I'll handle all that tomorrow. Peace and love and blessings in all fullness to my entire chat. I love you guys, and it is nothing but good vibrations, frequency, and everything that we are going to be emitting right now. High frequency, yes, 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 Reginald. Appreciate you, brother. Right now, let's back into it, guys. At the core of Falun Gong's teachings are the values of truthfulness, compassion, and forbearance. Let's keep that highlighted for a minute. Truthfulness, compassion, and forbearance is at the height of the values of the Falun Gong. Do you wonder why this is a practice that they went against? They actually tortured and killed so many people. They killed people behind this. They tortured people. And they used it as a reason to harvest their organs and sell them on the black market. Can you believe that? Taking these spiritual people that were highly elevated, had themselves cleansed, the best organs, because they had been taking care of themselves from the inside out. And they got top dollars for that by persecuting these people. Ancient Chinese schools of thought emphasize that seeking harmony between heaven, nature, and man can bring stability and prosperity to society. Harmony between heaven, nature, and man. That's mind, body, and soul. Bring stability and prosperity to the society. We know that, right? Similarly, for a person on a spiritual path, aligning with the guiding principles of the universe, the Tao or the way, we're going to get into that. The Tao or the way, and assimilating to qualities can bring greater mental and physical blessings and levels of spiritual awakening. Falun Gong teaches that the most fundamental characteristics of the universe can be summarized in these three words: the Then, the Shin, and the Ren. We just went over that. The Then, the Shin, and the Ren. All these things bringing forth perfect moral balance, right? When we think about the things that morally satisfy us, to bringing us to a great spiritual awakening, because we are having a balance of doing things in a proper perspective, right? Falun Gong teaches that the most fundamental characteristics are that Zhen and Ren, so translated as being true, kind, and forbearing. All Falun Gong does is teach the most fundamental characteristics of a person, and in tuning to the universe would be being true, kind, and forbearing. These three principles serve as a guide for Falun Gong practices in their daily life. That is, each day they work to cultivate these principles in their own character, becoming more true, more kind, and more forbearing to others. These are set forth in a number of texts, with the two main books being the Falun Gong and the Zhen Falun. The Falun Gong and non-Falun. If you're interested in finding out about more of this, seek information on practices to see about healing yourself, you can definitely do that. And I will put that in the chat for you guys. Right. Zhen Falun is the focal book and contains the complete teachings of Falun Dafa practice. It complete teachings of the Falun Dafa practice. It is a compilation of lectures given by Dr. Li in China between 1992 and 1994. In 1996, the books became a national bestseller of China. Zhen Falun has redefined the term Qigong and cultivation practice for the Chinese people. And while discussing very profound principles, its simple and accessible language allowed millions to embark on their own path of self-betterment. It expounds upon profound principalities, including the long-forgotten term cultivation, the origins of illness, karma, and the role of moral character on path to spiritual perfection, etc. Falun Gong books have been now translated into 40 languages and are published worldwide. All instructional material, including the chart of falungong.org, published at Dafa Books, and it can be bought at fagonbooks.com or tntbooks.com. I will make them available for you guys also in the chat. Now we're going to get into another important part of this that I want you guys to tap into. Now, see why I find the Falun Gong very interesting when it comes to the Tirthankara. Let's get into that. I think I am going to take a very short break. I don't know if you guys are ready, but I definitely need a break real quick. I got to get up and get me a little warm lemon water. My throat is really bothering me. I have some ice water here, but it's not really doing it for me right now. I need something a little more substantial right now to clear up my throat. So give me just a moment. I'm going to put you guys something on real quick while we get this going. Make sure you guys are tuned in Wednesday, Sister Soul Main Radio. I will have a special guest coming in to go over some very important information on them and talking about their nomination for the award ceremony. Let's get it going.
Enemy of my tribe, I optimize what's happening. Government and y'all cross. My ancestors wouldn't like you cross the line, so what's happening? We original, y'all GMO, y'all lying. I do this for my need you. Need you, I need you, I need you. Oh yeah, I need you, I need you. Need you. I do this for my need you, I 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 need you. I do this for my need you. Should've left me where I was, cause I ain't never scared. Took that little ice off my next girl head. My nation, my Nietzsche, someone girl said. Well, Americans still pure blood, we thoroughbred. I'm like, let my people go and just take me instead. When it's red or blue pill, I'm only choosing red. I'm always choose my people, you can keep that bread. Our government or trust, you can keep that bread. It's one thing Jim Crow was showing me. I don't want no white folks ruling over me. I don't want no politicians ruling over me. I don't want no po ruling over me. Only somebody that's like me gon' treat me like me. I'm on your Cherokee. You the chief and Dr. GLE. I'm still a G like this. You might not be as G as me. You think you free, but you need remedy. The biz fits me. I'm from the hood. I'm still waking up my people. They got us good. They still hating on my people. When it comes to fashion, the whole world wanna be like us. When it comes to music, the whole world wanna be like us. When it comes to dancing, the whole world wanna be like us. Foreigners are doing everything trying to weaken us. Sports, y'all can't fuck with us. Rhythm, no, we killing all. Anything in ball. Mentally, we figured out the cosmos. After all the beat and shit, we mashing y'all. Trying to take through asking y'all rights by blood. After all, Vatican and the Smithsonian got all our shit, artifacts and relics still keeping us away from it. When they say that was a long time ago, that's racist shit. Y'all holding that keep stolen shit. We don't need y'all holding it. Reverse engineering our technology, controlling it. David Eric shit you got, but you can't put no soul in it. I ain't go see the new matrix cause I'm living it. Everything is not what it seems, but I'm killing it. Can't you afford to pay attention who you living with? Now they trying to mandatory vax, but these you getting it. I'll fall back off my knees, I'm keeping y'all tactics. This ain't no earth war, this is galactic. Goddesses in God's woman. We gon' put arrow on your chest like that. Mongolos can't like us, them fake natives ain't wild like us. They ain't got a soul, destiny as a child like us. Nobody power like us, nobody peace pipe like us. Boxing, y'all can't fight like us, nobody lost their white like us. Say too much, I'm in the way, they tryna kill us anyway, so listen what I'm finna say. Everybody, I kids, we raised y'all anyway. What that sense is finna say. Everybody ain't here to say. Is you with us or this is ain't no in between. I'm a non-ether being, not a human being. Fucking 92, but all my allies what it do. They got killed for days, be careful, I advise you to give me up. My tribe of Aqua, myself for a minute, now y'all cross the line, so what's happening? My ancestors wouldn't like you cross the line, so what's happening? We original GMO, y'all lying. I do this for my niche. I need you. I need you. I need you. I do this for my niche. I need you. I need you. I need you. I need you.
Y'all know that's one of our favorites. Definitely my favorite. Fire. All right, y'all, let's get back into it. Now, I'm a little deeper, guys, right? Oh, I feel a little better already. I knew I shouldn't even been drinking this. I love my cold water, but this warm water is so much better for my throat. Put a little moringa in there. Yeah, that does it. When it comes to the Tirthankara, right? It is a Sanskrit, which is a something that's called a forward maker. A forward maker is where a river or like a shadow place of good standing, and one can kind of cross that or wade, like when they say like the wading water, wade in the water. We heard that before. When you're crossing that water, it's a shallow space that it's a Sanskrit, right? Sanskrit is in spiritual, it means a savior or a spiritual teacher of the Dharma, right? Which is a right of or your right to a righteous path. So when we're thinking about the right to a righteous path, that would be the Sanskrit, and this is falling in line of the Tirthankara. I read. Want to get into the Jain cosmology? Yes, we'll get into that a little bit. I want you guys to look at this picture. Wow. And you guys see this, right? I just, I want you to see really these. You can see what these ancient Buddhists look like, right? I want you guys to see this. Really. It's minimizing. I'm trying to make it go up. It's crazy. Okay, hold on a second. Let's see what it do now. I was acting real stupid. Come on. Oh, that's better. Stay right there. Stay right there. Nope. I tell y'all, I can't get no help right now when I'm trying to do something I need to do. Oh, there we go. There it goes. Now you guys can see right there. We go. Perfect. You guys this, and you can see afros, the features. We're not getting into all that. I want you to see where this is going. First off, when it comes to this, right? The Thankara, right? It actually signifies the founder of the Tartha, which is a formidable passage across the soul or sea of the inner uh, minimal birth and death. So it's a what would we consider? You know how they talk about the Christ? He died on the cross. He came back to life. This, and that. The cross and how he came back to life. Well, what's up, bro? I want you to join me on this one. I want you to look into it. So let me know so you can hop up here with me. Um, so it's a passage that is across the sea of the inner minimal birth and death, right? So when they say that they're talking about crossing over, so that is that Jesus Christ. When we hear about them taking the religion aspect of something and changing it so that we are not getting what we need to get out of it because we're passed by what the significance of it is. It is actually something that is a practice that came from very, very ancient times when it comes to the Tirthankara and the stages, right? So it is like I said, leaving from crossing over, passing over, because they believe that energy never dies and so on and so forth. This all plays into the spiritual foundation of us being a spiritual light body or light being, right? So it's an individual who has basically has a concord samsara. So when we think about that, that is that cycle of the life and death, the death and the rebirth, right? And they're providing a path for others to pass as well. So a person that is a Tirthankara, they are a person that has elevated themselves to a spiritual level or state of being. They have actually died of the flesh and reborn themselves in the spirit. There's a rebirth. And this is rebirth is a own that is providing others as well a path to this particular level of being or this state of being, right? When we think of a Tirthankara, this person has elevated. We think about monks. You hear about monks, the ones in certain priesthoods, so on and so forth. These people have studied and meditated and done so many things to ascend to a state of being. So when we're thinking about a state of being, the Tirthankara actually helps a person to elevate spiritually, exceeding the physical, and by standing that, overstanding that, and going on to another state of being, elevating and ascending to a higher level of spiritual state. So when you think about the monks and these people that have so many different things that they transpire a person to be, these are the things that we can think about, right? When a person understands their self, right, and they understand their soul, the difference in the physical and the spiritual, the Tirthankara actually attains what is known as they call it the Kabbalah or the Jhana or the Jhana, which is an omniscience, which is literally a supreme wisdom. When you hear of a person going to or having or elevated to a supreme state of wisdom means they have ascended past the physical. They're totally operating in a spiritual state of mind, a spiritual state of being. So what does that tell us? I'm going to think about that again. When it comes to the Falun Gong, it actually is a practice that did the same thing, right? It actually had a person to make sure that they had the most fundamental characteristics of the universe that can be surmised with the Zhen, the Shan, and the Ren, right? All those things are being true, kind, and forbearance. So this is the same as, right? Are we talking about the same sort of thing? Does that sound familiar to you guys? You know what we just went over? So thinking about that, and when it comes to the Jain cosmology, right? It's a certain type of liberation of oneself. The the Tirthankara is a bridge for others to actually follow the teacher from the samsara. We heard that as well. Then we hear that in the Falun Gong, from the samsara to the monks and which is a liberation of the self. This is a liberation of oneself, the elevation, the ascending by the way of the Jain cosmology. The Jain cosmology is basically a description or the shape of functioning of the universe, which ultimately is also the self, right? When we're thinking about the description of the shape and the functioning of the universe and ourself, we are tied to the universe. We are the same thing, the same energy. When we're thinking about these things, it's coming into that balance, the then, Shen, Wen, all these things that we're thinking about, right? So the Jainism is actually something that consists of the universe as an uncreated entity. Jainism believe that is the universe started from an uncreated entity. Of course, I'm breaking up. Look at these bombing here, bro. They've been in here all since I started. Like they seen this type at my ass, but it's okay. I'm gonna get this info out here one way or another. Let me try to slow down. I hope this is better, man. I think that's why everybody's kind of getting out of here. All my people leaving. Y'all can't hear me, huh? I'm sorry about this, guys. I may have to start this tomorrow. I'm going to finish this up in a few minutes just so that I'll have this pre-recorded programming for my main radio show January 2nd, guys. The program is definitely brought to you by ClassicBoutique.com. There will be a giveaway. Reach out to me at Sister Soul Main Radio. The first person that can give me their connection that they find with this, I'll be sending out a gift. There will be 2 gifts given out. So Sister Soul Main Radio.com. And after the review of the show and the information you did obtain, please give me a brief that you connected to. And I will be picking 2 persons' answers, and you guys will be getting a gift, and I'll be giving the winners out Wednesday in my programming show. All right. Peace and power, brother. Peace and power. I think you guys hear me any better. I'm hoping this is a lot better. I do apologize. It's been about 20 Russian bots in there. People, they're doing something with my computer every time. I started not to do a pre-recorded programming and jump up here, but, hey, they just doing what they want to do. What was I talking about? Oh gosh. Oh, I was talking about the Jain cosmology and the description, and its description of the shape and the functioning of the universe, which is ultimately, as we know, the same thing that connects to us. We're never-ending energy that never dies. Jainism consists of that. Was the universe as in what do they call it? Uncreated entity. They would say it's an uncreated entity that has existed since infinity. So they believe in the same thing that I do. That the energy has always been here. There's no beginning to it. There's no end. We can't die. We just can't. It is everlasting. We are everlasting. Energy does not die. It just transpires into something else. It transfers. It ascends. It goes to a different state of being. So when it comes to that description and it having an everlasting light, everlasting internal light, because it is perfect energy, it is a perfect sound bite of energy, right? A man standing with his hands and legs apart, right, and his arm posted on his right, that gives you like a torus view. This is what they say the shape is. This is what the shape is when it comes to that Jain cosmology, dealing with time, things of that nature. So in a thought, it's broad and then it's narrow in the middle where the waist is, and then it broadens out at the bottom. So it's like a torus field turned sideways. So made up of 6 different elements. When the concept of this, they believe it is 6 different elements that makes up this cosmos, so that there is that perfect balance, that perfect sequence of frequency, energy, the magnetic energy that flows in a certain way, giving it the perfect flow and the sequence. So that is that. I'll give you a couple of it. One is a jiva, which is all the living substances, which would be soul. When we're thinking about the soul, that is life, anything that has life in it. It's also a separate existence, basically, a separate existence from the body, obviously, because the body encases the soul. It is the character of the conscience, and it is how what we consider like the knowledge of perception. So when we think about the knowledge of perception, or the inner eye or ear, when you're thinking, I tell you about, you have to listen to yourself, not the outer. The outer is the thing that's hampered with. That's the thing that the wave format can buy. This is the thing that the matter is manipulated. I don't want to get into that. That's next. Hold on. When we about the soul, it never dies. So what it does, it transfers energy from one state to another, right? And it needs some bases in order to do that. It consists of like 5 certain bases when it comes to the senses. These particular bases that they considered would be the Sparshandriya, there's the Rasandriya, there's the Dharmendriya, and there's the Chekshandriya and the Chantrandriya. All these things are a part of that to the living substances when it comes to the soul, right? Hold on, I gotta take another sip. This is like crazy right now. Okay. Then when it comes to another one, there's the ajiva, which is the non-living things. So the non-living things would be the matter, which is the solid, which is the liquid, gas energy, any type of gas energy, fine karmic. When we're thinking about that, um, we're thinking about like particles, things of that nature, right? This is something called the Pudgala. So the Pudgala would be one of the other substances that is a part of that, right? Thinking about that, it is going to show us that it is a fine, karmatic, particular energy. This is the matter. So you know how we read in the Bible and it tells us about the man and the woman being invented, so on and so forth. That is the physical and the spiritual meeting, the connection of the two. So there would be the Jiva and the Pudgala coming into one, therefore bringing the soul into the body, coming into the mother's womb, being birthed, coming into the world and being birthed. That would bring that physical being into effect. So now we have that has come from those two spaces, right? Substance, which would be the soul, the jiva, and then we have the matter, which is the Pudgala, and those two come into provision and joining to create that particular life, right? There's also the what is it, the Mastakai, or something they would call the Dharmadrya, and this is the principle of motion. When I talk to you guys about energy and emotion is nothing but energy and motion. When you're dealing with that, you're dealing with the Mastakai or the Dharmadrya, right? So this is a system of thought that actually depicts the principle of motion and rest. It actually depicts the principle of being in motion or being at rest. Right? We also have the akasa, which is a space of substance that actually accommodates the living soul. So the akasha, we hear about this, the akashic records, when we're thinking about these things, these actually are accommodable to the living soul and matter. The principle of that motion and the principle in time being combined together, right? And when thinking about that, it's all the pervading infinity of what is space, time, where things connect. That's what we're speaking about. When things come into being, when they are connecting, that's what we're about. Yeah, I'm gonna get ready to end shortly. I will actually let me put the text me anything about this, or if they have anything they would like to add. Out of here. I'm gonna read a few more things when it comes to that and relating to that, right? You know how we are always talking about time, and I'm like, hey, time is an external substance according to Judaism and its activities or modifications can be achieved only the process of time. The only thing that can be changed is with time when it comes to activities of what a person is doing, making changes, making modifications. This is what the process of time is. That's conventional time in the way that it is perceived by the senses. And this is all through the transformation and certain modification of substances. These modifications of the substances and the transformation of the way that we perceive them is what is actually the external or substance according to that particular time. However, real time is the call of imperceptibility, right? When something is imperceptible to us, that is real time. That's the minute changes that we call the what they call it, the vertana, and that goes on into the insanity in all of these particular substances, right? So there's time and its extended substances that actually put us into these activities, right? And this is our conventional time. This is the way that we perceive it. We only perceive this by our senses through the transformation and through the modifications of these particular substances that we're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. Time is not actually a reality. Time is actually a event, a sense that you perceive in the things that you're doing versus what your reality has extended for you throughout the day. Time is the cause of perceptible changes that actually go in when it comes to all of these particular substances, even the things that we don't perceive, the things we perceive. That's either way, because either way they can affect your soul, can affect your mind, your thinking, your perception, your ability. Jain cosmology is actually that particular description of the shape of all of that functioning. So we have to think that and understand that it can affect us. So when it comes to the universe and its structure, the that Jain doctrine actually postulates an external and an ever external world which works on a universal natural law. It's the existence of a creator deity in its overwhelming opposition on that Jain doctrine. So this is just a doctrine that is based off spiritual accountability, spiritual reality, spiritual knowledge, knowing and being able to understand the substances affecting space, affecting matter, because matter is just one of those substances of the universe. So some of these things we have to kind of realize, according to the whole world is said to be filled with all living beings in all three parts, right? There is the existence of very small living beings. There are two types of these particular beings that they consider in the reincarnate as the Nagati, and they've been known throughout eternity when it comes to these particular um, uh, ancestral doctrines and informational pools that we have dug into, and we get these informations. Um, when it comes to that, it's like the mobile regions in the universe, things of that nature. Hellish beings, we're dealing with all these type of things. The things they would say like evil, devilish. We got like demigods. We got like I said, hell beings. We're dealing with angelic type of beings, angel beings. Things of this nature. Realms of the God or heavens are different realms that the humans are a part of. I'm gonna go into that when it comes to the Jain information. I want you guys to see that. So give me one moment. Let me get to that. Just one moment. I'm gonna go to the three locus. Okay, give me just this up for you. I think I'm not doing that great on my sound. This sound, oh my gosh, it is just like up horrible. I am so sorry, guys. What I'm going to do is end this. I'm going to get back into this tomorrow. Make sure you guys are tuning in, because I'm not sure. I might have some up. I'm doing a pre-recording today, and yeah, everything has just been driving me nuts right now. I can't even focus because it keeps going in and out. It keeps closing out things. I'm seeing about 7 to 8. They can take their behind straight to HE sticks and leave me alone. I'm gonna just have to pop up live. It won't be pre-warranted, guys. I'll just start it so that I can get blocked on some of this stuff that's going on. I don't even get it. It's really peeing me off. Maybe somebody that's computer savvy doing something to my computer. But we're going to end it now, guys. Talk with you guys tomorrow to go over this. So just make sure you are tuned in. Thanks so much for listening to Sister Soul Main Radio. And you guys have a good one. We're out.